Good afternoon, boss babes. It is Michelle Fox, and I have got such a great topic to discuss today. Someone who has watched some of my other trainings sent a message and asked, what do you do when someone says, I'm allergic to your brand? And if you're not in an industry where somebody could be allergic, it might be, what would you do if someone says, I tried that, it didn't work for me. I had a bad experience. I've heard that it's not that good. Something along those lines. You let someone know, this is what I do. It takes all your nerve to do that. And they come back with, oh, I have a low opinion of that, is basically what they're saying. And so the question is, how do you reply? And that is such a good question. And it's so important that people address this and that they practice it, because it will come up. And I have a variety of things to say about it. But I came up with kind of a good analogy. So I want to give you that one because I think it'll really help you understand the frame of mind you should have when this happens to you. But then I'm also going to tell you how I was trained to respond to it. And then I'll tell you how I usually respond to it. They're not always the same thing. But I needed to talk to you so much. I didn't even take the time to put on makeup because I had to make a choice. It was this or that. And I chose this. So imagine that you offer a friend or an acquaintance or someone that, you're just trying to be nice and friendly to, but you're not, BFFs yet. You offer them a slice of banana bread and they say, oh no, the last time I had your banana bread, I ended up in the ER. You're not going to say something like, oh, okay, and then just drop it. You're going to be like, what? You're kidding me. What happened? You want the details. You're hearing what they're saying. You're taking it seriously. You aren't doubting it. And you are asking them, tell me more, because that sounds serious. And in the same way, when someone says, oh, I tried your brand and I broke out. I tried your brand. I had an allergic reaction. I tried your brand and it didn't work for me. You need to be, hear what they're saying and respond with some level of concern. Because if you're really hearing it, like if you are taking personal responsibility for your business, imagine you're Mary Kay Ash and somebody said to her, oh, I'm allergic to your stuff. She wouldn't just be like, oh, okay, sorry, I asked. You know what I'm saying? It's like you need to, the fact that someone had a negative experience or thinks they had a negative experience doesn't diminish your clout or your expertise. Okay. And you cannot let that put you in a position where they're up here and you're down here because they said they had a bad experience. To the contrary, you are in charge. And so you want to get to the bottom of it. You want to find out, well, what happened? Help me understand. Okay. So the first and most important thing, actually, the first and most important thing is that if you're listening, make sure you give StreamYard permission so I can see your name if you decide to comment. All right. Now the next most important is that you really need to acknowledge that you're hearing them. I'm looking for my banners. I have like 10,000 banners, so I have to really go down low. Here we go. All right. You want to acknowledge that you heard them. Okay. You don't want, I think we think, well, if I just act like it's no big deal, then it's no big deal. No, you wanted to do the opposite. Be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Tell me more. What happened? How long ago was this? Do you remember what product it was? Okay. Even if you're in front of people, it doesn't matter. I'm not afraid. Okay. I want to get the information. So you want to let them know that you're not saying, no, you didn't. No, you're not. You're not saying that they don't know their own mind or they don't know their own experience. That is the worst thing you can do. You need to respect what they're saying and listen to what they're saying and respond in kind from a position of authority. So the first thing is you're hearing them, okay? The method that I was taught, and if any of you are oldie moldies from Mary Kay, is the feel, felt, found approach. And it's like this, where someone says something like that, and you need to hear what they're saying, but you need to also like relate to them so that you are back at a more relational position. So I understand how you feel. I felt the same way when I actually had a reaction to a mascara that I tried once that was a different brand, and I didn't know what was happening with my eyes. I was just totally in a panic. But I found that I was allergic to a particular ingredient in that line or that particular mascara, but that didn't mean that every mascara that that company made was going to be an issue for me. It took me a while to believe that because I had such an awful experience. It was kind of scary. And so I can relate to what you're saying. So I understand how you feel. I felt that way, or my mom felt that way, or I've had someone else who has felt that way. And we found that, the best approach for her was, whatever. She realized that it was the wrong formula or that there was an ingredient in that line, but that line was discontinued like 5 years ago. So there's the feel, felt, found, where you are, the goal of that is to let them know that you're hearing them, you relate to what they're saying, and that there was a solution. So in that scenario, you are offering a solution, and it's sort of like in that moment, you are maybe expecting that they're going to like turn on a dime and be like, oh, all right, well, in that case, then, slap it on me. And so that's where I differ a little bit. Okay. So here's what I do. I respectfully take away the offer. So I'll give you a scenario. So I had a really nice outdoor party set up with refreshments, and it was just a gorgeous day. And I had everybody's, trays set up. And then there was someone who was super negative. I could just tell that she had very, very negative energy. And so every step that I would say, well, now we're going to do this, she would say, is this all natural? And I said, well, we have a natural line, but that's not what we're using today. This does have some man-made ingredients. It's age fighting, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to try it if it's not all natural. Okay. Here's the thing. Instead of me trying to change her mind and convince her to try it in the moment, let's flip it and say, she said, I tried this and I had an allergic reaction. Same thing. In the moment, I'm going to hear what they're saying and I'm going to say, oh my goodness. Well, then please do not put this on your face. I'm taking that away. Okay. They're expecting me to say something like, oh, but, just give it another chance, or, oh, but it's almost natural, something like that. But I am respecting what they're saying. I'm hearing what they're saying. I'm taking it literally. And so I'm taking away the offer. So in that case, I said, oh my gosh, okay, well, this is not the naturally line. We have one called that. Let me give you a brochure to read while we continue with this. And so she was like, okay. So I gave her that, and we are going around the table, putting stuff on, laughing, having fun. People are saying how amazing their face feels. Guess what? Can I go ahead and try some? I guess it doesn't really, I'm okay. I just want to try it with you guys. She came to me. All right. I didn't pressure her into trying it. I didn't like try to talk her into it. I heard what she said and I took it off the table. And then that's how it remained until she says to me, oh, okay, I guess I do want to try it. Now, why did she feel like saying that? I think the level of trust went up. The trust factor went up because I took her seriously. And I think that as she saw her friends trying it and having fun and having a positive experience, whatever negative voice was in her head, that kind of got diminished, and she wanted to take part of the fun. And I'm not going to deny her that, of course. So that's vastly different than if I would have said, oh, well, But honestly, products that are created in a lab are just as good as natural products, and da 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 da. And this study says this, and we take a stance that is like this, and blah 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 blah. Like, no, nobody wants to hear you go off on a tangent. They'd want you to hear their concern. Maybe they want attention. Maybe they think that's what they need, but then they see what everybody else is doing and they realize, okay, maybe I do want to try this after all. But here's okay, so I think I'm gonna do that one last. Okay. So here's what I want to say next, in case anybody's like getting, a bug up their butt. Is that people can have a bad experience. People can have an allergic reaction. That does happen. And that's why you need to be careful what you say and how you respond. Okay. We need to listen to the person that's talking and be respectful. But okay, so I have two things to say about that. So one is that when someone says they're allergic to a brand, it takes all of my self-control not to say it is impossible for you to be allergic to every single product in our line because they don't all have the same ingredients. But that's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? It's like saying I'm allergic to Procter and Gamble. What? What does that mean? No. So when someone just says I'm allergic to your brand, that rubs me the wrong way. But I just really try to, not say anything back because I don't want to seem controversial. But I try to get at, well, what did you try? How long ago was it? What happened? What was the situation? Because, you might also, okay, so let's say they say, well, I tried a botanical line 10 years ago and I had, it made my face itch, something like that. Then you've got something to work with where you can respond, okay, well, that botanical line has been discontinued. All of our skincare lines are entirely different from one another. They have entirely different ingredients. And I'm guessing that at the time, perhaps there was fragrance in that formula because people often are sensitive to fragrance, whereas this line does not have fragrance. Would you care to try it, or would you care to give it another chance? Something like that. Okay, so that's one thought. But the other thought is she may really and truly have a problem with lots and lots of products. I have a couple of friends that are extremely, extremely sensitive, and they've narrowed down like just a couple of products that they feel comfortable putting on their face. And I'm not going to debate them about that. Okay. I say something like, I'm really glad you found something that works for you. It sounds like that must be a really, really frustrating thing to deal with. Okay. And let it go because it's okay. It's okay if like a half of a percent of the people that you meet can't wear or can't use what you're offering. It's not going to end your business. What does end your business is when you flip out over it and you're like, oh, did everybody else hear that? Oh no, that means my brand is terrible. And now I feel so embarrassed and I don't even know what to say. I'm so distracted. I can't even think. Okay. You're large and in charge. The product is just as good as it was 5 minutes ago. And it's okay that someone had a bad experience and they might not make a purchase. Oh, wow. Okay. As long as you're showing them respect, you're listening to what they said, you're getting the necessary details. So if action needs to be taken, that you can. In our business, we have an outstanding medical department where if someone said, well, when I use this, I get itchy. I can't really figure out why. I wish I could because I'd like to use it. Then I could say, well, I can call our medical department and see if they have any thought on what ingredient might be the issue. Because we use products. Okay, I'm talking about our stuff in particular, but we stay away from anything that is a known allergen, that is like a typical something that people could be allergic to. That doesn't mean that no one could possibly be allergic to anything. And so then among the ingredients that we still use, there are some that are the more likely ones if somebody has an issue. So like for me, I can't wear eye color if it has carmine in it. And only like maybe 5 out of 20 have carmine in it. And it took me a long time to figure that out. But now that I know that, I'm not like, oh, I can't wear any of them. I just know I can't wear the ones with carmine in it. Okay. And the medical department helped me figure that out. So, so that's something to think about. Okay. Now I have to go backwards. Okay. And so then, what I famously do is like I said, they say something like that. I get all the details. I say, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Then no, I wouldn't expect you to put it on your face. If you want to try it on the back of your hand, you can. If you just want to, help me pass things out, you tell me how are you more comfortable if we're in a party situation. If we're just chatting like at a picnic or something, and she's like, oh, what do you do? And I tell her, and she's like, oh, I'm allergic to that. Then I say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that. And then depending on the vibe I'm getting, if I feel like she wants to chat about it, like she wants to tell me more, then I say, well, what happened? But if I feel like she was saying that as a, back off, I don't want to talk about this here, then I just say, oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that, and I'm done. But as this says, I continue layering. If that is a person in my life that is important to me and that I see consistently, and I want her to be a customer, not so much for the dollars and cents, but because I want her as part of my circle of influence to support what I do, then I look for other opportunities to, I don't push it down her throat or whatever. But let's say, for example, a friend says, you know what? I wish I could support you. I'm so excited for your business, but I'm really sensitive and I had a reaction and I can't wear your stuff. And I'm like, oh, all right. I'm so sorry. And time goes by. And then she steps by and is like, well, what are you doing? Well, I'm putting orders together. Today's delivery day. And I will just chat something up. Like, this is a really popular new product. By the way, have you ever tried the whatever? I really doubt that you would have an issue with this because it's so gentle. You know what I mean? Like I would look for other just little baby opportunities to kind of finesse things so that she, can crack the door open a little bit to try something so that it's not so cut and dry. Like, I can't support you. Sorry. You know what I mean? But again, if she says firmly, I just, yeah, I can't use that stuff. I'm not gonna try to talk her out of it. All right. She knows her own mind. But I think because I don't let any of that intimidate me and I listen to what they're saying, I take it seriously. I try to come up with a solution in the scenarios that I think that they're really asking me for a solution, that 9 times out of 10, a year or 2 years down the road, they come to me. I kid you not, I've been doing this for 22 years. They'll come to me and say, hey, you know what? I need an anti-aging skincare. And I know I told you that I was allergic, but the more I think about it, that was the Velocity line. And I know that had fragrance, and that's probably what it was. So anyway, could you just drop me off a sample? That happens to me all the time because I didn't let that freak me out. I didn't slam the door. I left the door open a crack. I'm hearing what they're saying, taking it seriously, trying to be the professional that I'm supposed to be, help them however I can help them, follow up with the medical department, follow up with the product ingredients, and over time, let them see I'm still doing this. I'm still loving these products. I'm still loving this opportunity. And then they're kind of like, huh, she really did stick with that. Maybe this is a good product after all. And their thinking shifts. Okay. But did I spend that year to 2 years wringing my hands, wondering when is she ever going to be my customer? No. All right. I got other stuff to do. Okay. So we don't have to beg people to try our product. We don't have to beg people to love our product. And we don't have to try to talk them out of something that they're trying to tell us. Okay. Be a big girl or big boy and just hear what they're saying. Think of yourself as the CEO of the company. Take it seriously. You want to, even take notes and then say, I'm really sorry to hear about that. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. If I find out anything solid, I'll get back to you. And I really appreciate your feedback. Okay. And that is like 1,000 times classier and more effective than to just drop it because you're kind of freaked out or to try to talk them out of it like, oh, I don't think so. I don't think that was a reaction. I think, maybe your skin felt warm or something because it was an age fighting ingredient, but that's not a reaction. You got to be careful with that because people want to be heard. They want to be respected. They like to shop, but they don't like to be sold to. So you need to kind of set that table so that they come to you. I find myself saying that a lot, don't I? But I tell you what, sales is a billion times easier and more rewarding and more relational when they come to you rather than hey, will you try my product? Will you try my product? Will you try my product? Because, that's a whole other topic, attraction marketing. But I'm just saying that if you continue to remain calm and to not doubt the company, the products, all these things, just because one person is bringing something up, it will serve you well. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Let me see if I have any comments. I'm on the wrong screen for comments. Okay. I don't see any. So I don't know what you're thinking, but I've had this happen a lot. Everybody does. Okay. It doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. It doesn't mean that you chose a wrong company to represent. It's just not everybody's going to have a rosy, picture of every brand, every product. Okay. And so the best thing you can do is just to get enough details so you can really understand the situation, respond in whatever manner you think is appropriate at that time, and move on. Okay. So if you have questions about that, go ahead and post them because I know this is kind of a tricky thing, but you can't do anything better than be honest and be yourself and just not let things like that shake you. Okay. So hopefully that all makes sense and you got something out of that. So, all right. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. I'm actually doing another video in a second. I just have so many things to tell you today. But make sure that you leave me questions, comments, and I will personally respond. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye.